Jack Chambers, please.
Thanks, Councillor. Minister, I want to ask what further engagement your department has had with the Public Service Pay Commission, and if you'll make a statement on the matter. As you know and I know, this is continually being delayed now. The reporting deadline has been displaced out into whenever you've breached your own deadline from last year. What further engagement have you had? Can you clarify the role of the Department of Public Expenditure and Reform in that process, and why a lot of what you've said last year was contradictory around the Public Pay Commission? And hopefully you'll have space now to clarify what you said last year.
Minister, please. With the Public Service Pay Agreement 2018 to 2020, the Government tasked the Public Service Pay Commission to conduct a comprehensive examination and analysis of underlying difficulties in recruitment and retention in those sectors and employment streams identified in the Commission's report of May 2017, and this includes the defence sector in Module 2. In order to assist the Commission in their analysis, the Department of Defence was requested to provide specific data. A civil military team was tasked with collating this material. The specific material requested has been submitted to the Commission. The Department of Defence is continuing to engage with the Public Service Pay Commission and are responding to queries and requests for further information from the Commission. In this regard, the material is continuing to be collated by the civil and military personnel who work closely in preparing the submissions to the Commission. The Public Service Pay Commission has engaged an independent firm to conduct a survey of the Defence Forces personnel to assist in the analysis. This follows on from a study conducted in the second half of 2018 of specialist personnel in the Defence Forces. The main data gathering for the survey will be conducted in February and March of this year. The survey is being facilitated through the Defence Forces. The Public Service Pay Commission has written to the Department of Public Expenditure and Reform, inviting the management parties to attend the meeting. This will include representatives from the Department of Defence, the Defence Forces and the Department of Public Expenditure and Reform. The Commission's work is ongoing. The Government will give due consideration to the findings and recommendations that arise from the Commission when they report.
Minister, you'll recall that in October of last year you told me that a joint submission had been made and that it went to the Public Pay Commission. That's a quote. In January of this year you contradicted yourself by mentioning the Department of Public Expenditure and Reform. And what we've learned since is actually the Department of Public Expenditure and Reform had the report that was jointly signed off by your department and military management for up to 3 months. So what I want to know is, first of all, it doesn't augur well that a report that's been jointly prepared is diluted, amended or changed when it runs to the Department of Public Expenditure and Reform. And it's very worrying for any cohort of public sector workers that they'd see the intervention of that department. And Minister Donoghue admitted to me in recent weeks that he had indeed interfered and involved himself in that process, which I think undermines the independence and integrity of the Public Pay Commission if we have deeper involving itself and amending the recommendations or the submission that's made from the Department of Defence and from military management. But I want you to clarify, why did you say in the Dáil that it had gone to the Pay Commission in October when it hadn't, when in fact it went in December? Why didn't you inform the Dáil in October that it was going to go to the Department of Public Expenditure and Reform? And why did you withhold that information at the time? And why is the deadline now being pushed out into the middle of this year or whenever, when you had given a previous commitment about Q4 of last year for the Public Pay Commission reporting?
Actually, Deputy, I didn't contradict myself at all. I actually corrected the record. I know you're perfect. I know that, right? And like, you know, that's the way it is. But I'm not perfect. I corrected the record whenever it was in PQs earlier this year, when I said I corrected the record and saying I went to the Department of Public Expenditure and Reform in that case. But as the Minister for Finance and Public Expenditure and Reform advised the Deputy in a parliamentary reply on the in 24th of January 2019, the submission to the Public Service Pay Commission in respect of the Defence Force was compiled on a collaborative basis between the management side parties in order to provide the Commission with accurate and complete material. as to assist in its examination of recruitment and retention issues in the Defence Forces. And actually, when the submission was originally made to the Department of Public Expenditure and Reform, the Department of Public Expenditure Reform then went back and forward and had dialogue with civil military management regarding the submission. They drilled down into it. They looked for more evidence-based statistics, and the department, both the department, my own department and military management, worked on that over a number of months before concluding the final submission in December of 2018. And I understand now and know that the Pay Commissioner are still in contact with the Defence Force members.
Dismissal like that doesn't rectify the issue. You knew damn well last year that it was with the Department of Public Expenditure and Reform, and you never informed the House, you never informed me. What you wanted to do was say it was jointly signed off, it had gone to the Pay Commission, and let's wait for the report. And what's interesting, on a parallel basis, the Chief of Staff during that period was making a public plea at with the various representative associations meetings, and publicly talking about the pay issue. And we know now why that was the case, because he knew probably at that time that the process was with the Department of Public Expenditure and Reform. But you wanted to take it off your desk so by saying that it had gone to the Public Pay Commission, by not informing us where it had really gone, which was the Department of Public Expenditure and Reform. And my difficulty is that, first of all, you've delayed the issue around recruitment and retention crisis by having a quarter of the year delayed with the Department of Public Expenditure and Reform, but also that it undermines the integrity of the process whereby the Department of Public Expenditure and Reform has chipped away and diluted at some of the issues that genuine difficulties a member of Defence Forces have. And that's the issue. It's not about having a perfect story or not, but you didn't tell the House the truth in October of last year, and you didn't correct the record until January, when you knew damn well where that report was going. Why didn't you tell us where it was going at that stage?
Thank you. Your final reply, Minister.
Speedy Deputy, you weren't around here 15 years ago when your party was running an absolute muck of the economy. But anyhow, you could have. But anyhow, let me say, Deputy, I'm not sure if you know me well, but there's one thing I will not do, that's shirk away from my responsibilities. And maybe you might be able to learn that over a little bit of time. But I did not in any way undermine the integrity of anybody. What I want from my side here is to make sure that we make the best submission possible, both military management and the Department of Defence, and that they make the best submission possible to the independent Pay Commission. And there will be an opportunity, as I've stated in my original reply, that the Pay Commission has written to both my own department and to military management, inviting them in, and better make sure and say the Department of Public Expenditure and Reform, inviting them in to make a verbal presentation. This is something that I look for. This is something that I'm happy to say that has now been granted, and I look forward to the outcome, and whatever recommendations that are made from the Pay Commission, well, then the government can take those into account and make the appropriate decisions.
Thank you, Minister. Question number 30.